A flag-lowering ceremony marking the official end of U.S. combat missions in Afghanistan. And today, just 24 hours later, Taliban insurgents in Afghanistan declaring the defeat of the U.S. and its allies in the 13-year-old war. Lieutenant Colonel Alan West joins us now. Can you believe it? 13 years. Hard fought.
Yeah.
And now the Taliban saying that they defeated us and the U.S. allies. Come on.
Well, greetings, Kimberly.
Greetings.
And one of the things we have to come to understand, there was a quote by Austrian military strategist Karl von Clausewitz, who said, war is the imposition of one's will upon another. We, at no point in time, have imposed our will against the Taliban. We have not vanquished the enemy from the battlefield. There have been no capitulation. And one of the sayings that I heard them say quite often in my 2.5 years in Afghanistan was that you may have watches, but we have the time. And when we look at Afghanistan, it is not a war in and of itself. The real war against Islamic totalitarianism, Islamofascism, and jihadism and terrorism continues on.
Correct.
Afghanistan was just a combat theater of operation in that greater war.
You're absolutely right. One amongst many that we are still fighting on all fronts. And I just think it's naive and also reckless to suggest, that this is the end of the war in Afghanistan. It most certainly is not. We still have men and women that continue to serve there, and we need to make sure that they have the right security so that they can keep these operations in place. Because by no means is the war on terror or jihadism or extremism, as you've pointed out, over. This is just one of the many theaters that are alive and well today.
You're absolutely right. And the thing is, we're not just fighting a tactic in terrorism. We're fighting against an ideology. And again, we have not delegitimized that ideology.
No.
And let us remember that next year in 2015, those 5 senior members of the Taliban that we released in exchange for a deserter, Bo Bergdahl, will be returning back to Afghanistan. So now you are starting to see the reconstitution of the enemy's leadership, which is very deadly. And we see that has happened in Iraq, where al-Qaeda in Iraq was defeated, but they reconstituted. So I'm very concerned about the mission that this follow-on force of about 10,000 will have, whether that will be enough to accomplish the mission.
Well, you're absolutely right, because we're actually now complicit, because we are part of the resupply program, the conveyor belt of terrorists. Let them out, send them right back to the theater where they do their best work. This is really inappropriate and I think so dangerous from a national security and foreign policy message. If you were in charge, you're President of the United States, what would you do, Colonel, come with these decisions, start with Afghanistan?
Well, first and foremost, I would move away from this sense of nation building and occupation-style warfare. We would be focused on strike operations. There are 4 real strategic imperatives. We would deny the enemy in his sanctuary. We would go after his ideology through a dedicated information operation. We would cut off his support of man, material, and financial support. And last but not least, we would cordon him off and reduce his ability to have any sphere of influence. That's the type of strategic level imperative that we need to have.
You're absolutely right. Spoken with a man who knows what he's talking about, who's been in the theater and cares about the men and women that are serving there and getting the job done right. Colonel West, what a pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy New Year. Thank you,
You
Kimberly.
as well.